Hey, welcome back to the Inspire Hope podcast, where we are planting hope for kingdom growth. There is nothing more inspiring than God being at work in people's life through their stories. My name is Samuel, and thank you for sharing that moment with us. Today, we are honored to sit with Sandra. Her father was killed in the Kingsmill Massacre in Northern Ireland. This conversation is about faith, grief, and hope. Sandra, thank you for trusting us with your story. How are you doing today, Sandra?
Well, thank you. Thank you, Sammy.
Thank you for coming, Sandra. And the first question I have for you, Sandra, is tell us about where you grew up and the world that shaped you.
Yes, I grew up in Northern Ireland in a little village of about maybe 2 to 3,000 people, about 47 miles south of Belfast. I was part of a very small family. I just have one brother, one older brother, and we lived out in the country for the longest time. And as you say, my father was killed in the Kingsmill Massacre. So after that, we did move down into the village. I was involved in Sunday school. I was in charge of the Sunday school at our local church. I was also involved in an organization called Child Evangelism Fellowship,
Mhm.
and we met once a week during the week, and children from the area came, children with no church connections, and we
Mhm.
presented to them the gospel. My mum's brother was very involved in children's work and youth ministry, and of course, if there was any children's meetings or special events, we were there. And it was through that time that I came to know the Lord. I knew all about God. I knew He loved me, but
Mhm.
it came a realization that if anything were to happen to me, I wasn't saved. I needed to accept the Lord for myself, and I did that when I was 12,
Mhm.
a long time ago, and that's kind of how I grew up. I had a very close relationship with my mum and dad, especially my dad.
Mhm.
Of course, being the only girl in the family, of course, you were your daddy's little girl, and we had a very special relationship. So, um, my work life, I was a dental assistant in
Mhm.
the village. I was in the one practice for 28 years before I came to Canada, and I just retired on Christmas Eve. So,
Ooh.
Christmas present to myself. So, after
Congrats.
yes, after 50 years of dental assisting, I knew it was time to retire. So, that's kind of where I am in my work career to date. I met many wonderful people, and
Mhm.
some opportunities to share. It's not always easy in the workplace. It's not always allowed,
Mhm.
but um, I did meet some wonderful people along the way, and I'm thankful for them.
That is great. So, what role did faith or church play in your upbringing? How, you know, let me try to explain that. Like there is going to church like a routine,
Hmm.
and there is like I'm going to church because of my relationship with Jesus. So what role did faith or church play in your upbringing?
In my upbringing, well, after I became a Christian, I then got involved. I was too old for kind of Sunday school, and I got involved in the youth fellowship, and that shaped me. I had a wonderful lady who and another gentleman who kind of took me under their wing, and
Mm-hmm.
they mentored me, they encouraged me, which was great. And I knew that I could go to them and talk to them about anything. You
Mm-hmm.
know, it's not always easy as a teenager, especially in high school when you're in the minority. And they were a great encouragement to me, and it played a huge part in my life. I made some
Mm-hmm.
lifelong friends through that, and it's great to know that when we're still in contact, that we can talk about how the Lord has guided us, how the Lord has been with us
Yeah.
and sustained us in times of hardship and trial.
Yeah. So you mentioned that your dad passed away, or your dad got killed. Uh,
Mhm.
how old were you, and how was that situation? Tell us about that story.
I was 17 at the time.
Mm-hmm.
The situation in Northern Ireland wasn't a happy one at that time. It was in 1976, and in the 70s, terrorism was rampant. Really, it was the worst time in the life of Northern Ireland.
Mm-hmm.
He worked at a local factory, and they had a minibus that took them to work every day.
Mm-hmm.
And they were coming home from work, and their minibus was stopped, and they were ordered to get out of the bus and line up. And they thought originally that it was just an army checkpoint, because life in Northern Ireland, you could have been stopped along the way by the army, your car,
Mm-hmm.
and asked questions, where are you going and where are you coming from, and that. So they thought nothing of it at the start, and then someone asked, and really, to us it didn't matter, but they asked, "Oh, there's a Catholic man on this bus," and they thought someone was maybe going to do some harm to this gentleman.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, they asked him to step out, and they asked him to keep walking. So it was dark. It was January. So he kept walking, and then they were the IRA, and which was Irish Republican Army,
Mm-hmm.
which was a terrorist group, one of the terrorist groups at that time.
Mm-hmm.
So just they just shot them there multiple times. They had machine guns, and there was 10 of them. One man survived, and the only reason that he survived was the other bodies fell on top of him, and he was
Mm-hmm.
able to hear some things, and it took him a long time to recover. So that was the 5th of January, 1976. Um, it was, I can honestly say that in those next few days, we were in a daze. We just couldn't comprehend what had happened
Mm-hmm.
to us and our family, and 10 other families as well. Um, did I know God was there at the time? I probably did not realize it. I
Mm-hmm.
probably, um, we were just so, I don't know how to describe it. We were just so turned upside down that
Mm-hmm.
nothing made sense.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yes, now I know that God was there. He guided us through those days. There was a lot of fear in the community.
Mm-hmm.
We lived in a very mixed community, and I'm thankful for that, because if you live in either a Protestant or a Catholic community alone, then your views are kind of, you're in your own little bubble. But
Mm-hmm.
we lived in a very mixed community. We had very good friends on both sides of the community, and they came alongside us, encouraged us. In fact, when some of the neighbours came to visit our home, they asked permission, could they
Mm-hmm.
come in? And my mum said, absolutely, you can come.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it was amazing. I think the thing that, especially for my mum, there was no bitterness or hatred in her heart. She was just so heartbroken about what happened, that we as a family didn't want that to happen to anyone else ever again. Um,
Mm-hmm.
it changed our family. Things were never the same. My mum was a little bit afraid when we would go out to anything at night time. What if something happens before they get home? Um, what if, she was very fearful, but she learned
Mm-hmm.
to God, very much so. I think that was the only thing that got us through. As I say, we maybe weren't aware of people praying for us. We weren't maybe aware of it at the time because we were in such a shock.
Mm-hmm.
But afterwards, looking back on it, we can see the hand of God. Um, and he didn't allow us to be bitter. Some people did. They were very bitter, and they wanted revenge, and they wanted justice to be done. But we knew that, God will give his justice.
Mm-hmm.
We were content with that.
Mm-hmm.
It was a great help to us that carried us through. It changed our family. It changed how I looked at things. Now my mum and I were close, but our friendship and our bond got stronger, because
Mm-hmm.
my brother got married a few years after that. He married quite young, and there was just my mum and I, and we were great friends. Saturday was our day. We went somewhere every Saturday together. always involved a little bit of shopping, always involved
Mm-hmm.
a few cups of tea along the way, but that was our day together.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
even when we came to Canada, until she wasn't able to do that, that was our thing. Um, I I had a great, I could talk to her about anything. I would say, Mom, could you pray for
Mm-hmm.
whatever? And I could tell her a secret, and
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and she never would, she wouldn't tell anybody. I had confidence in her, I could trust her.
Mm-hmm.
So and even when she went into the care home here in Canada, the girls, she knew things about the girls. They would confide in her, and when she passed away, they said, "Your mom's away to her grave with my deepest, darkest secrets." So that's the mom that she was, and
Mm-hmm.
our yeah, it changed. Yeah, it changed life, but life had to go on. You know, it's surprising. Then you gather yourself up, and in those days there was no such thing as grief counseling or
Yeah.
any help. You just took a deep breath.
Mm-hmm.
If you trusted the Lord, He was your strength, and you got on with life. Then it was
Mm-hmm.
hard. Some days I asked why. I still some days ask why,
Mm-hmm.
because I can't understand
True.
why they picked my dad and the other men. They didn't do any harm to anybody else. There were 10 Protestant men, and these people wanted their life to end. But I know that God has been with me. There was a verse that I looked up and I was thinking about it, and I'll just read it to you. It's Isaiah 43, verse 2. When you pass through the waters, I will be with you,
Mm-hmm.
and through the rivers, they will not overflow you. When you walk through the fire, you will not be burned, for I am the Lord your God.
Hmm.
So I had to learn to realize that, life is not easy, and God doesn't guarantee that we won't have any hardships, but He does promise to be with us through those hardships. And that was the thing that I had to come to. Give me strength and courage to keep going on days when I didn't feel like it. So
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So how did that change your mom's life?
it, yes, it changed her life. She had a very good sister-in-law who said, my mom's name was Anna. She said, Anna, I think you need to maybe go out to work, find a job. It's not good that you're at home alone
Mm-hmm.
all the time. So she got a little job. It was in with a farm, and she packed eggs.
Mm-hmm.
And that was great for her because it got her out of the house every day. She wasn't alone. She didn't feel abandoned. She had friends there that helped her, because it's so easy to maybe get depressed, or
Mm-hmm.
just,
Mm-hmm.
when you're there by yourself. It How did it change her life? She she was a woman of few words. She thought long and hard about things.
Mm-hmm.
Um, when Mom spoke, you knew. Oh, you sat up and you listened
Mm-hmm.
because you had something to say.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think she hid a lot of her grief from us because she didn't want us to be worried about her.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I think there was a lot of things that she carried deep in her heart
Yeah.
that,
Yeah.
as a mother, she was protecting us.
Yeah. Yeah.
She didn't want us to be concerned about her.
Yeah. And how many were in the family?
I just had one older brother.
Okay. Okay.
Mhm.
So, how did that because again, this is it's like the sectarian war. Is
Mhm.
how did your father's death affect your understanding of God?
Uh, I questioned whether God was there at the time. I didn't understand it, but I knew that He would never leave me or forsake me.
Mm-hmm.
I knew I could trust Him. There were people that I couldn't trust. There were places you really couldn't go anymore.
Mm-hmm.
You had sometimes to be careful what you said,
Mm-hmm.
but I knew deep down in my heart that God would never let go of me,
Hmm.
that I could trust Him. I could tell Him. I could be honest with Him.
Yeah.
If I was sad or lonely, or I could just go and I could tell him, Lord, this is how I'm feeling today.
Mm.
Can you help me? Can you get me through this?
Yeah. Sandra, there are probably lots of people who might be going through not the same, but similar things. Either
Mm-hmm.
they lost a loved one, or they have a loved one and, like doctor says, you have 6 months to live, and they are basically preparing the funeral.
Mm-hmm.
Again, it's not the same as what you went through, but it's still loss. Loss is loss.
Mm-hmm.
What would you tell somebody who might find themselves in this situation, like somebody who's preparing the funeral?
Mm-hmm. When my mum, when I finally knew that she was going to pass away, I knew there was nothing that I could do but give her to God.
Mm.
I remember praying and say, Lord, she's yours. In your time, I know she had only a few days probably to live, that
Mm-hmm.
you're going to take her and you're going to take her home. I prayed for healing for her. I prayed that Lord would heal her.
Mm-hmm.
But it took me a long time, and I would say to anyone, it took me a long time to realize that God did heal her. Healed her
Mm.
in a way that, not in the way that I wanted, but
Mm-hmm.
home to be with Him. And that was the strength and the confidence in God that I had. That
Mm-hmm.
if you put your trust completely in Him, that
Mm-hmm.
you can trust Him with all the small details of your life.
Mm-hmm.
I missed her. I missed her terribly, but I knew in my heart that she was with the Lord, and that was far better than being
Mm-hmm.
here. Would I love her to be back? Yes, I would.
Mm-hmm.
But I know that where she is right now is
Yeah.
where God wants her to be, and I would tell people to take heart in that death is not the end.
Mm-hmm.
If you're trusting in the Lord, and your loved one is trusting in the Lord, that it's not the end. And
Mm-hmm.
just because you say goodbye to them here on this side of time, it's not goodbye forever.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sandra, how do you personally wrestle with the idea, like the war between Catholic and Protestant, and now how many religions we have? We have like hundreds. How do you see that? How do you, yeah, reconcile between the religions? Like your dad died for the sake of religion, if we say it that way.
Mm-hmm.
And how does that, you know, how do you see God when it comes to religion? Why would a God let your dad die like that? You
Mm-hmm.
know?
I've questioned that many times, like why did this happen, and why were these people not caught, and why were they not brought to justice?
Mm-hmm.
But then I had to come to realize that ultimately He is in control.
Hmm.
Um, I'll never understand that
Mm-hmm.
this side of eternity, but I have to. It took me a while to get there. It just doesn't happen overnight. You have
Mm-hmm.
to go through your grieving process. You have to go through your sadness. You have to acknowledge that this has happened, and I don't know
Mm-hmm.
why it has happened. And Lord, you know why it has happened, and I've got to trust you that you know why.
Yeah.
And one day I'll know why. Um, I worked with another girl, and she lost a loved one, and she tortured herself,
Hmm.
really.
Hmm.
And I could see it was eating her up inside.
Mm-hmm.
I think there has to come a point where you acknowledge, yes, this happened, but
Mm-hmm.
you have to let go. You have to let go and say, Lord, I don't get it. I don't
Mm-hmm.
understand, but you know, and I have to trust that you know what's best for me and my life. Did I doubt? Yes, I did. But still, God never left me, or He didn't forsake me. And
Yeah.
that's what I cling to.
Yeah. In 2016, I lost my sister, and she was like basically my best friend.
Mm-hmm.
And and I was, as a pastor, I was praying, and I remember, James says Elijah was a natural man just like me. He has nothing like that I don't have. He has a connection with God. I do have that connection with God. Elijah prayed for there would be no rain for 3.5 years, and there was no rain. And he prayed for rain, and there was rain. and there was a little boy who passed away, and Elijah laid on this boy, and this boy came back to life. And doctor told my sister, like, you have less than 6 months to live. And I was like, okay, Elijah had nothing on me, so I can pray that God will heal my sister.
Mhm.
And I prayed. And every time I prayed, I sensed that God is saying, Sammy, it's a no. It's a no. And I refused to accept it.
Mhm.
But at the end, I sensed like God is saying, Sammy, I love her more than you love her. This is my daughter. And
Mhm.
there will be stuff that's going into our lives. And we can say, God, why my family? Why my loved ones? Why? And as hard as it is, I think the lesson I learned is to start asking God, what is it that you're teaching me? Right?
Mhm.
What is it that you're teaching me through that? What is it that you're teaching me because the truth is, I believe God is the best economist. He doesn't let anything go wasted, right? So
Mhm.
what you went through, either somebody gonna listen or watch this video and say, wow, if God can do this through Sandra's life, he can do it to me too. He can
Mhm.
do it for me too. Because everything that's happened in our lives, God endorses it and let it happen to us for a reason. Right? We may not know the reason, but there is a reason why God allows that happen. So when you move to Canada, okay, you're not like me who move and didn't speak the language well. When you moved to Canada, how was the culture shock? How was life in Canada for you?
Well, life in Northern Ireland is very laid back. You kind of, we were saying, you don't sweat the small stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I came to Canada, and especially when I went to work, I had to recertify again my qualifications. I had to go back to do some courses, and I had to rewrite my final exams again.
Mm-hmm.
Then certain ways we would have done things in Northern Ireland, things were done a little bit different here. So I had to get over that and say, okay, well, now I'm here. This is the way things are done.
Mm-hmm.
The weather was another huge thing. We don't really get a lot of snow. If we do get snow, it's just a little bit of snow, and the country comes to a standstill because we don't know what to do with it. My first winter here, I came in August, and my stuff didn't arrive until October, and it snowed for Halloween, and I had no winter coat. I had
Mm-hmm.
nothing. I didn't have a snow shovel, so I was coming out to go to work one day, and I had the little dustpan, your little with your sweeping brush, and for the
Yeah. Yeah.
I was clearing snow. So the neighbors come out and said, what do you think you're doing? And I said, well, I'm trying to get to work. Well, they just laughed at me. So I was told to go immediately to Canadian Tire and get a snow shovel. So that was my first encounter with snow. And another thing was driving on the opposite side of the road. That was different.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't believe that 14-year-olds could learn how to drive here in the UK. It's 17.
Okay.
So, and then I thought, well, I better do the driver's ed class, um, because there's some rules of the road are different. So here I was,
Mm-hmm.
20 in the class, 19 of them were, I would say they were 14, 15 years of age. And then there was me,
Hmm.
the old girl in the class. So that was different. I just couldn't, that you could drive so young. What else? Holidays. You don't get as many holidays here as we did in back in Northern Ireland. We just seem to get there's a lot more, and that was a change for me.
Mm-hmm.
I had about 6 weeks holiday, and then I came to Canada, and I had two. So again, I had to get over that and say, well, this is the way it is. And uh, what else? It took me a while to get to know people. I came from a small village, and because I worked in a dental office, I knew everybody. Everybody knew me.
Mm-hmm.
Then I came here, and I would go to get my groceries, and I would think, I didn't meet anybody I knew. So I had to think, how am I going to figure this out? So there was an Airdrie at the time, there was a little mall off Main Street. It's closed now. And I used to go through the mall on my way to work and just pick up a coffee. So I thought one day I would sit down and have my coffee, and there was a table of seniors. And that was another thing. The seniors would all meet together for coffee
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
in the mall, wherever. That probably didn't happen back home. They didn't meet in little groups like that. But anyway, I sat down and they looked at me and they said, "Who are you?" And they said, come and join us. And then I did. And then it became a thing that I used to meet with them. Depending on what shift I was on, I would meet them before I would go. And that really, apart from looking after my mum came to Canada with me.
Uh-huh.
That really perked up my my connection with seniors. And that kind of has been my thing. Is my connection with seniors and hearing their life story and how the hard times that they've been through. Some of them have been through some awful things because they've lived back in the days when things weren't as plentiful, and how thankful they were. And then I got to know this little group, and that was one way that I felt the Lord was using me to encourage them, and they would encourage me.
Yeah.
So I still have a little senior lady that I meet with on a Monday, and take her for her groceries and whatever. She's 89, and she keeps me in line. She keeps me on my toes, and the life that she has had has made me say, you know what? Even though I've been through some tough stuff, you know, other people have gone through harder times than me, and we can encourage each other that way. So that was a new thing for me. Yeah. So what else? Oh, certain things that we say in Northern Ireland mean different things there.
Oh yeah.
I'd say certain things that we say in Northern Ireland means different. They mean different things here.
Like giving you an example.
So I had to learn that. We would go, if you go around to visit someone's house, you'd say, "Well, come on round for the crack." So my brother had emigrated as well. He had emigrated before me, and my sister-in-law said, "Sandra, don't say that. That means something completely different here." Now it's spelled different. It's spelled C-R-A-I-C, and it means come on round, like come on round and like what's going on? Fill me in on all your news. So I had to not say that. So,
well, yeah. Let me ask you this question. How did you meet Brian?
Yeah, well, when I came to Airdrie, as you know, I came to Grace and Airdrie, and there wasn't many people my age group there. There was either a lot of older couples or very young children. And then there was another lady and her husband. Again, they befriended me. It just so happened that this lady had been a dental assistant as well, and she was retired, and we sort of made a connection. And she said, you know, Centre Street in Calgary, a bigger church in Calgary, has lots of different groups going on. You should go there and, you know, get to know some people your own age. So here I am. I set off to Centre Street, and there was a singles group. Now, I didn't go to the singles group looking for a husband. I just went to find out, you know, some friends that I could meet with, and we could do some things together. And Brian was part of that group. He was divorced. His wife had left, and there were he had three young kids. I knew he was there. He knew I was there. We didn't connect at all up to a few years into it, and that's how we met there. He wasn't looking for another relationship either. He was content to be with his kids when he had them, and life was taking on a whole new normal for him. And I just went to find some friends, met some girls. I actually met one from Airdrie, and we were able to travel into Calgary together and do some things together, and that was good for me. So yeah, we got married 2 years after we met. We got married, and when we first met them, his children were, I had to write it down to remember, they were 7, 10, and 11. Yes. So that was a wake-up call for me. I had never been married before, so this was a whole new adventure.
Mm-hmm.
So
And you guys been married for how long?
and this in March it'll be 18 years.
18 years.
Hmm.
Praise the Lord. Praise the
Hmm.
Lord.
Yeah, yeah.
Sandra, let me ask you this question. What's one thing you hope the audience remembers from this conversation? And the reason why I'm asking you this question is because we have this channel so that when people hear real life stories from real people and real faith, we want them to say, okay, if God can do this through Sandra's life, he can do it through me. If there's one thing in our conversation that you will want the audience to remember, what would it be?
That God will never leave you or forsake you.
Hmm.
No matter what you have gone through, and sometimes you question where is God in all of this? Always
Mm-hmm.
remember his promises. I have two verses that have meant a lot to me. In Hebrews 13, it says, I will never leave you or forsake you. So we may boldly say, the Lord is my helper. I will not fear. What can
Mm-hmm.
man do to me?
Mm.
And then again in Joshua, where God speaks to Joshua and he said, I will never leave you or forsake you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And if you might despair, people will let you down. But I have proven over and over again that God has never let me down.
Hmm.
And I can trust him.
Yeah. Even in the midst of trials, even in death, we know for certain that he will not leave us and
Yes,
forsake us.
absolutely.
So how can our listeners pray for you?
Well, I'm in a new phase of life. Now I say I've just retired. I
Mm-hmm.
still want to be useful uh, for for God. Um, I think God has used me before to encourage people. I am involved with Brian in the divorce care ministry that is held at our church, and
Mm-hmm.
um, I can't speak as someone who is divorced because I haven't been divorced. I had never
Yeah.
been married before, but I can encourage people that if down the road and if God allows it and they do remarry, the chances are that they're going to meet someone who either has young children or teenage children or grown-up children. And I can encourage them. So if the Lord would help me to,
Mm.
to keep encouraging people and still be useful for him. I don't want my days to be, well, I'm retired now, I don't have to do anything. No, that's
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
not who I am. I'm always like to be busy. Not too busy that I wear myself out, but busy enough that I'm still useful
Yeah.
where I am, and that God will use me where I am right now.
I have a few retired friends, and it seems like they are busier now than before. Is that the same thing for you?
It's only been a week because we were off the week in between Christmas and New Year. That was technically holidays. And my brother messaged me this morning and said, so what did you do this week? I said, this week just flew by and here we are. It's Saturday. I don't know how
Yeah.
to manage to just do things and be here, there, and everywhere. And yeah,
Okay.
so, yeah.
Okay.
I,
So
I like to keep busy.
yeah, yeah. Well, I pray that God will bring you ministries so you can be useful for the kingdom of God.
Thank you,
So,
Sammy.
Sandra, I'm gonna fire some questions at you that you have no idea. Okay.
Oh, wow. Okay.
If you're a reader, what books are you reading now?
Well, I like to read books that are set back in time.
Mm.
I'm not a great lover of the new, I don't know, science, sci-fi kind of stuff. I
Mm-hmm.
like to read books that involve a little bit of history,
Okay. Okay.
history too.
What? Yeah. Go ahead.
I've read some books about people who have come, from away back in the day from another country and made their home in Canada or America and the struggles
Mm.
through. So that kind of thing. I like.
Yeah.
I've read some books that were centered around the wars in America, you know, the North,
Mm-hmm.
South, and
Mm-hmm.
the slave problem that they had there. So, yeah, those are the kind of books that I enjoy reading. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
So what kind of music do you listen to? Like genre?
Music, anything but country music. I'm not a lover of country music. Mostly I listen to worship music, but I do listen to other music as well.
Yeah.
Um, who do, my worship music, the Gettys are my favorite right now. Of course, they're from Northern Ireland, so I really I like them. I like Mercy Me would be another favorite
Mm-hmm.
of
Mm-hmm.
mine. Um, Other types of music. Hmm, I like music that's set, and now this is going to show my age. Music from the 60s.
Okay.
Yeah, that old music. We had a music system at work. We had a nest, and sometimes we would put music on, and they would say, "Oh, Sandra chose the music today." They would know.
They
They would,
use it.
yeah, and some of the patients, the older patients who were in, they said, "Who chose the music today?" And then they would say the next time they would come, "Did Sandra choose the music today?" Yes. So, yeah.
Oh wow, that is awesome. So
Uh,
Sandra, is there anything you would like to share that we I haven't asked you?
Um, Let me think. What could I say? I wrote that. Oh, yes, another thing that happened to my mum
Mm-hmm.
that uh, just showed me how strong of a lady she was and how strong in her faith she was. She was a double amputee.
Okay.
She lost her first limb back in Belfast. She was in hospital in Belfast when 9/11 happened. So I always remember that. And then she
Yeah.
lost the second one when she came to Canada. She wasn't a diabetic, but she had some blockages in her veins and arteries in her legs, and they
Mm-hmm.
tried to do bypasses, but they weren't successful. And when her second one happened, I remember taking into the Peter Lougheed in Calgary, and the surgeon saying he wanted her in the next day and he was going to do her amputation. So coming out of Calgary, we didn't speak and nobody said a word in the car. It was just her and I, and we were coming past the way scales. You remember the way scales on the
Mm-hmm.
highway, and I said, "So, what did you think about that?" And her words were, "God knows all about me."
Mm.
And that was, yeah, I knew she was going to be okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
I worried more about it, I think, than she did, but
Mm-hmm.
God knows all about me. And many a time I have to remind myself of that.
Mm-hmm.
God knows all about me. He knows
Yes.
I'm here in Airdrie. Um, and then when we applied for immigration, when we came to Canada, and again, we were just reestablishing ourselves, finding our feet.
Mm-hmm.
We both said one day, you know what? God didn't bring us to Canada to abandon us.
Mm.
And we had prayed, Lord, if it's your will that we'll be here, because the the deal was one wasn't coming without the other.
Yeah.
We were coming together because my brother had come before, and we were coming as a family. And we both said that, God didn't bring us here to abandon us, and He
Yeah.
never has.
Yeah.
And that's been an encouragement, huge encouragement to me through the
Mm-hmm.
year. So,
Sandra, throughout your story, and again, thank you for trusting us with your story. And throughout your story, I can hear a theme going on. It's like God will not abandon us.
yes.
God will not leave us. And
Hmm.
I like to say, like just like John says, He is a good, good Father.
Yes, absolutely.
And like James says, He gave us good and perfect gift.
Yes.
And as a good, good Father, we can rely on this Father that He will walk with us through the valley,
Yes,
and He
absolutely.
will strengthen us, give us hope again, because we do not grieve like people without hope. We
Yes,
grieve, but we know we're gonna see our loved one again. And
yes,
we know for sure, like Paul says in 1 Corinthians 15, that one day we're gonna look at death in the face and say, "Hey, death, where is your sting? Where is your victory?"
hmm,
Right? Because we know our Savior has beaten death, and
yes,
we can know for certain that it's just like we close our eyes today. But now we're gonna open it in the presence of our Savior.
Absolutely. Yes, and I
Thank
find
you.
very much so. The month of January is a hard month for our family.
Hmm.
Again, my grandma, I was very, very close to her. She died on the 4th of January, and then many years later, my dad, the 5th of January, and today
Oh,
actually is the anniversary of my mum's death.
yeah.
So 3 dates in January, and I know, and every year I dread it, and I think, oh, here we go again. But I know
Hmm.
today God has God has got me through
Yeah. Yeah.
until this point, and he's not going to. He's
He's
not
not
going.
going to. No.
No, he's not going to.
We can take it to the bank.
Yes, absolutely. Yes, very true. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Sandra, for trusting us with your story and spending
True.
time with us. We really appreciate it.
And if it can be an encouragement to someone else, then I hope
Yeah.
it will be. So
Praise
thank
the
you.
Lord.
Thank
Mhm.
you.
Hey, thank you so much for joining us today at Inspire Hope Podcast. If Sandra's story has inspired you or added value to you or encouraged you in your walk with the Lord, I would encourage you to share your story with us, okay, at inspirehopepodcast@gmail.com. Hey, your story, we'd love to hear it, or we'd love to walk with you just like we did with Sandra. Email us again at inspirehopepodcast@gmail.com and at inspirehopepodcast@gmail.com. Yeah, that's right. And thank you so much for being with us. And thank you so much for joining us. Until next time.